Hello everyone, I hope everyone's doing okay during this quarantine. I, for one, have been very productive. Maybe. I've been drawing a lot, watching anime, cooking, and washing my hands until I see my bones again. In this video, I'll show you guys how to make manga. So let's go! Who needs this guidebook? So the first step of creating a manga is creating a character. Your character are the most important things in your manga because they not only determine the plot, the setting, and how they act throughout the story, they also connect with your audience. Whenever people watch anime, buy manga, or even buy merchandises, they're doing so for the characters because they want to feel closer to them. After creating your character, you're ready for the next step, which is creating a storyboard. A storyboard is essentially a graphic organizer that consists of illustrations or images displayed in sequence for the purpose of planning out your story. Your storyboard can be very sketchy or well detailed depending on the artist, but the person who is looking over it should know what is going on. Creating a storyboard is one of the longer processes in making a manga because you can play around with the paneling, the flow of the story, and so on. A professional manga artist takes about 3 to 4 days out of the week to make a storyboard. Also, it is better to make a mistake in the storyboard because once you realize a mistake in your manga further on, it cannot be fixed that easily. So don't feel discouraged if you have to go over your storyboard multiple times. After getting your storyboard approved, you are ready for the next step. Next, you will sketch out your story on manga paper. And this is what a manga paper looks like. It has rulers on the side of the papers to help you make the lines for the panels. You can draw within the second bigger rectangle, and you can draw over the dotted lines, because when scanning or printing the image, the scanner can scan beyond that. Once you are done with your sketches, and you got it approved, you're ready for step 4. When you are inking your image, you have to be aware of a few things, such as these crop marks. Crop marks are thin lines placed on the corner of the image or page to indicate where the paper should be trimmed after printing. I would advise you to ink in the crop marks first, then you can get started inking your image. In the manga and comic book industry, many artists use dipping pens. There are different types of pen nibs to use. First, there is the G nib, which are commonly used by professional artists. This pen can create various lines ranging from thick to thin lines and is easier to control the flow of the ink. This pen is perfect for drawing expressions and action lines, which is why most shonen manga artists use this type of nib. Then there is the spoon nib, which is named after the spoon-like shape. It is great for beginners to use this type of nib because it creates straight, consistent lines, which is great for making flat images such as scenery and objects. There is also the mapping nib, which is most commonly used by the shoujo manga artists. It creates really fine lines and it can create an image to look very delicate or soft. It is great for small details such as hair or eyes. Make sure when you are inking, you are moving the page as well, so you don't scratch up the paper. Once your inking is done, you're ready for the next step, which is screen toning. Screen toning is a technique for applying texture or shade to a drawing. Screen tones are usually made out of small dots, and the shade varies based on how big the dots are. There are also screen tones with patterns, flowers, buildings, and so on. Screen tones add a finishing touch to your manga. When applying screen tone, first you have to peel off the back layer, and placing the sticky side onto the image. Rub the screen tone to make sure it doesn't move. Using an X-Acto knife, you cut out the areas where the screen tones will be left behind. Then you peel off the rest. Then use a tone harrow to rub the screen tone onto the page very strongly. That way the screen tone won't fall off while being scanned. Once screen toning is done, you are ready for the last step, which is putting in the dialogue. You can either write the dialogue onto the manga directly or scan it and type it into your computer. I would advise typing it since it will have a much cleaner and professional look to it. So after countless nights of no sleep and a lot of coffee, you have finally made your manga. Thanks for watching! Bye!